Imagine that tomorrow morning a government official arrives at your door. He accuses you of violating the law. There is no jury, no independent judge, no appeal. The same people who wrote the rules are deciding whether you broke them. The same people enforcing the rules are deciding your punishment. Would you call that justice? The founders wouldn't. They believed liberty could not survive unless there was someone standing between the citizen and the government. Someone independent, someone whose duty was not to the politicians, someone whose duty was to the law itself. That's why they created the Judicial Branch. And before we're done today, we'll answer an important question. How did one of the shortest sections in the Constitution become one of the most powerful guardians of American liberty? Welcome to Patriot Hippie. In our last episode, we explored Article 2, the Executive Branch. The Constitution created a president strong enough to lead the nation. But the founders understood a simple truth. Power must always be balanced. Congress writes the laws, the president enforces the laws, but who decides what those laws mean? Who settles disputes between citizens? Who settles disputes between states? Who ensures that the government itself obeys the Constitution? That responsibility belongs to the Judicial Branch. Article 3 is surprisingly short. You can read it in only a few minutes. Yet its influence reaches into nearly every corner of American life. The founders did not invent courts. The idea of judges stretches back centuries. English common law had already established important protections: trial by jury, due process, protection of property, the right to face accusations in court. The American colonists valued these traditions, but they had witnessed something troubling: the courts influenced by politics. Judges depended on royal authority, legal decisions affected by those in power. The founders wanted something different. They wanted a system where justice would not depend upon who held office. They wanted courts capable of standing apart from political pressure. Most importantly, they wanted a government where even those in power remained subject to the law. In the summer of 1787, delegates gathered in Philadelphia. They debated nearly every part of the proposed government: Congress, the presidency, taxes, representation, federal power, state authority, eventually they turned to the courts. The result became Article 3. The opening sentence reads, "The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court." Notice something interesting. The Constitution only requires one federal court, the Supreme Court. Every other federal court was created by Congress. This gave the new nation flexibility. As America grew, the court system could grow with it. Article 3 outlines the kind of cases federal courts may hear. Cases involving the Constitution, federal laws, treaties, disputes between states, cases involving ambassadors, maritime disputes, controversies involving citizens from different states. This was important. The founders did not create courts with unlimited authority. Federal courts would handle national issues. Many other legal matters would remain with the states. This reflected the larger constitutional principle of limited government. One of the most unique features of Article 3 concerns judges themselves. Federal judges serve during what the Constitution calls good behavior. In practical terms, that means life tenure. Why would the founders do this? Because they wanted judges to remain independent. Imagine a judge running for re-election every few years. Would every decision be based on law? Or would some decisions be based on popularity? The founders feared that justice could become politics. Life tenure was designed to protect judges from political pressure. It allowed them to make difficult decisions without worrying about losing their jobs. Whether people agree with every ruling or not, judicial independence remains one of the cornerstones of the American system. At the heart of Article 3 lies a larger principle, the rule of law. This may be one of the most important ideas in the entire Constitution. The rule of law means laws govern society, not kings, not presidents, not judges, not Congress. Everyone answers to the law. The wealthy, the poor, the powerful, the ordinary citizen, government officials included. The founders believed liberty could survive only when the laws applied equally to everyone. Without the rule of law, rights become privileges. Judges become arbitrary. Freedom becomes temporary. At the top of the federal judiciary sits the Supreme Court. Today, it consists of 9 justices. The Constitution never specifies that number. Congress has changed it several times during American history. The court was never intended to write laws. It was never intended to enforce laws. Its role was to interpret laws. Think of the court as a referee. A referee doesn't play the game. A referee applies the rules. That simple idea explains the court's constitutional role. Only a few years after the Constitution was ratified, the Supreme Court faced a defining moment. The year was 1803. The case was Marbury versus Madison. Chief Justice John Marshall delivered a decision that would shape American government forever. Marshall argued that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. If a law conflicts with the Constitution, courts must follow the Constitution. This principle became known as judicial review. From that point forward, courts claimed authority to strike down laws that violate the Constitution. Whether one agrees with every decision that followed or not, judicial review became one of the defining powers of the Supreme Court. At this point, you might be wondering something. If the Constitution created federal courts, what about all the state courts? The answer reveals another important feature of American government. The United States has two court systems operating side by side: federal courts and state courts. Federal courts handle matters assigned by Article 3, constitutional questions, federal laws, treaties, disputes between states, national issues. Most legal matters, however, are handled by state courts. Property disputes, family law, most criminal cases, probate matters, contract disagreements, traffic violations. This arrangement reflects another constitutional principle: federalism. The founders divided authority between the federal government and the states. Power would not be concentrated in one place. Responsibility would be shared. Justice would remain closer to the people. Even though federal courts have significant authority, the founders never intended judges to become the supreme rulers of the nation. Like every branch of government, the courts operate within constitutional limits. The Supreme Court is powerful, but not all-powerful. Presidents nominate judges. The Senate confirms judges. Congress creates lower courts. Congress can impeach judges. Constitutional amendments can overturn court decisions. No branch stands above the Constitution. Each branch checks the others. The balance remains one of the great achievements of the Constitutional Convention. Most Americans rarely think about courts until they need one. A property dispute, a contract disagreement, a criminal accusation, a challenge involving constitutional rights. At those moments, impartial courts become extremely important. The founders understood that freedom requires more than elections. It requires fair procedures, neutral judges, and confidence that disputes will be settled according to the law. That confidence strengthens society. It protects liberty and helps maintain trust in all government. The founders understood the dangers of such a system. That's why Article 3 exists. Its words are few, but its purpose is enormous: to protect liberty, to uphold justice, to ensure that even government itself remains subject to the law. That is the promise of the rule of law. And that promise remains one of the foundations of the American experiment. Understanding the Constitution helps us understand the American story. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give me a like. Subscribe to Patriot Hippie, it's free. And please share this video with your friends. Until next time, peace, freedom, and the American story.